3, 2. Well, Peter Loeb with LionRock is joining us to talk about how the anxiety may be getting worse for so many people during this pandemic. Peter, thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Sally.
Tell me why LionRock Recovery, which is usually helping people who have substance abuse, is now helping people who have anxiety, and you're moving to these anxiety support meetings.
Yes, exactly. Well, we've been around for 10 years, as you say, treating substance use disorders. And a big driver of substance use disorders is anxiety, quite often. But we put together this special COVID-19 anxiety support meetings because we here and we ourselves internally have seen a huge rise in anxiety around the dangers associated with the virus and their concern for loved ones. And also, being cooped up, it makes it harder to manage that anxiety. So we put together these meetings, which are not professional psychology, although they are run by psychologists, but they're about education and coping skills that people can use to sort of gain perspective on what's going on. And they're completely free and accessible worldwide. One thing I might add is that we do use Zoom, but we are very aware of Zoom bombers and have taken all precautions. So that should be no problem.
Right.
We also
Go ahead. You also are doing what?
we also run 12-step meetings and other mutual support group meetings that are also free, which can be accessed from the same area on our site. So we have a big free component to our services, and that again are not professional psychology, but that we offer for the support of the community.
What kind of response have you been getting from the community when it comes to taking up your offer on these free meetings?
Well, it's been very good. We just launched the meetings a week ago, and already they're pretty full. Sort of in the 30 people range is pretty common. We've put a limit to 50 on each group, and we'll just add more groups as we get there. But they're sprinkled all through the week so that they're convenient for folks. And in our substance use disorder business, our professional psychology business, we had a jump of 40% in March alone in demand. And our mutual support group meetings, AA and alternatives, tripled in attendance over the last several weeks. So people are finding that telehealth, which we've been laboring away at for the last decade, is a very useful thing now, and it's great to see it going mainstream.
We've heard about different meetings for those who are addicted to substance abuse, like you mentioned, going to an AA meeting physically. I don't think I've ever really heard of a meeting that's helping people who have anxiety. This is something that I don't think that is accessible to a lot of people, but you're doing it online.
Yes, and online, for quite a long time, people told us as we were moving into this field that, oh, it can't work, and people won't get the same thing out of it as being in the same room together. But actually, it's a very intimate experience. You really feel very close to people because the camera is so close to your face that it gives the viewers on the other end a very close look at you, where sitting across the room in a circle, you don't see nearly as much detail. So it's a very intimate medium, and works quite well.
Right. Can we talk a little bit about how you're saying you are seeing an increase in the number of people who do live with substance abuse who are turning online to these meetings? I can imagine that this is an especially troubling time for somebody who wants to take a drink or who wants to go and use the drugs that they, used before.
Absolutely, absolutely. What for many people, the substance use is in fact a coping mechanism for dealing with anxiety, and the anxiety can be generated by a number of different things. So, in a time when we are being attacked by this virus in pandemic fashion, those anxiety levels are way up. And then to add to that, the requirement of isolation, which is a problem in substance use disorders anyway. People who, as they get down deeper into an addiction, tend to isolate more and more because their behaviors become more antisocial and they don't want people to see. So the combination of that need in terms of the anxiety and then the isolation on top of it, really has driven interest in getting help online.
What happens, Peter, if we don't get help for anxiety?
Well, it really depends. Anxiety in and of itself can lead to maladaptive behaviors, as we say, like drinking and drug use to the extreme. Um, but it's not healthy for anybody. It certainly changes body chemistry. I'm not a physician, so not completely qualified to say, but it is an unhealthy state to live your life in.
Right. Do you want to add anything before we let you go?
Um, Sure. Just that, LionRock has been around for a decade. We've worked really hard to put together a state-of-the-art telehealth program. I think that even our substance use disorder program is as good and better than most treatment programs out there, even though you don't have to go to it. And in fact, people get the benefit of getting help from the privacy of home.
Mm-hmm.
And we can fit into their schedules rather than they fitting into ours. So all in all, it's a win-win, and we're very happy to see so many other companies in our field now recognizing that.
Perfect. I don't know if you were able to record on your end or give me permission to record.
You certainly, I think you can record. I can record. Do you want me to record?
Yes, please. If you could just record that.
So I don't think I can go back and record. I think I would have to start recording here.
Okay, you could just hit record and I'm going to ask you just one more question and then the rest we do have recording on our end. It's just to double check to make sure we have it.
So I have to, Kelly.
Do you want me to record? Let me see if I can do this. Hold on.
And what do you want me to talk about, Sally?
I just want to make sure we have a double backup in case the audio or the video doesn't come out on our end.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And so you want to go through some of those questions, or you
Yes,
want me to?
I'm just going to ask you 2 of those questions.
Okay, hold on one second.
Okay.
Ready?
Are you guys ready? Okay,
Yes.
I'm going to press record. 1,
Good.
2, 3.
And Peter Loeb with LionRock is here to explain why it is important to go ahead and have these online anxiety support meetings. Peter, tell us a little bit about why you're offering that.
Thank you, Sally. Thanks for having me. The online anxiety support meetings are very helpful in this time of concern and correct concern over the pandemic. People are afraid and people are isolated at home. And the combination of that isolation and that fear about what's going on has increased anxiety levels. And we're glad to be able to add these support group meetings to our normal offerings of professional substance use disorder addiction treatment. Anxiety is a big component of different levels of addiction, and so we are glad to bring this level of expertise to everybody as opposed to people who are seeking substance use disorder. Our meetings are available to everybody. They're free internationally. We've taken care of the Zoom bombers, so you can come to LionRockRecovery.com and find the meetings on the support group page.
What can you expect when you log on to that support group page when you are suffering from anxiety?
Well, so you'll click on the link, and you will be added to the session. You'll see just similar to what we're using right here, a panel with multiple video feeds coming in, people's head and shoulders, and you can hear them and see them, and they can hear and see you. The sessions are led by professional psychologists, although it is not psychology, it is a support group. So there's education and there are coping skills, and there's an opportunity to share how you're feeling with other people in the same boat. A lot of times that fellowship, that conversation is a real comfort for people, particularly these days when people are isolated at home in order to battle the pandemic.
And you say that there is a connection, right? If somebody who is suffering from anxiety, and if they don't get the help they need, they may turn to some other things like alcohol use or drugs.
Well, what we call addiction or substance use disorder is typically a symptom initially of an underlying issue, and anxiety is very often the driver. So untreated anxiety, people find a coping mechanism for dealing with their anxiety, and certainly the abuse of drugs and alcohol can be one that people use. And so this is a way to sort of reduce that anxiety level and perhaps keep people in a good place.
Okay, I appreciate your time, Peter.
Thanks, Sally. Thank you so much.
Thank you. How long will you be offering these meetings so I can let people know about?
Oh, so they'll be, we have no plans at this point to not offer
Yeah.
them. So I think we'll just keep going until we see what happens. It's nice for us to be able to address a broader group of people than we normally do. There are 20 million people in the U.S. who have substance use problems, active substance use problems. So there are plenty of people out there with whom we interact all the time, but to be able to help more broadly is great.
Wow. Okay, thank you so much for doing that. Send me that recording if you or Kelly can, and I appreciate your time.
Sally Ken, thanks, Sally. Nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.